outside, she was, I mean, you could see she was very, very relieved. But it wasn't until we sat down that she said, you know, at the restaurant, that she said, I opened the door and there was a woman standing, you know, on the stairs halfway down, and then she was just gone.
Halfway down again.
Halfway down.
Okay, well, there must have been something there.
Something.
If the neighbor hears somebody come halfway up.
Oh, okay, well, let me tell you about the neighbor before this woman. We've had several neighbors over there, obviously, in 10 years. It's been 3 years since we haven't occupied the site. We've had 5 different sets of people to live over there
In 3 years.
And it to be unoccupied for several months in between. If that tells you the turnover rate, and the rent is super cheap, you know.
Let me know if it comes up.
I know.
And then I'll leave spot theology and I'll be like, Jeremy, it's like
You
spot
can see how
theology.
beautiful downtown Naperville is in
The last man who lived over there, he moved here, he was a 4-star chef from Hawaii, and had invented some recipe for pancakes that was gluten-free that he sold to Patton to Pillsbury. He made a lot of money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
And so he was always constantly working on recipes and bringing us food. We liked this
wow.
neighbor.
Yeah.
We called him Doughboy because that's what he looked like. It was really sweet and always brought us food. And it was funny, he would come over here every other day bringing us something to eat for a while, and then it's almost like we wondered if something was wrong because we didn't hear from him at all. And then he came over here one morning looking like a crazy man. I mean, literally, like hair all disheveled and yeah, right, you know? I mean, he like busts through the door and he's a big dude, and he's like, "Were you here at 2 o'clock in the morning?" No. You know, he was scaring me, and I'm like, "No, why?" And he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm positive." And he's like, "Any of the other girls?" I was like, "No, absolutely not." You know, Holly would tell me, and Trish is sure as hell not driving from practically Shelton Marl, you know, to come out here and hang out at the salon at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's not happening. And he said, "I thought for sure someone had broke in." He said, "You have never heard so much noise coming from over there." He said, "I went and got my gun." And then he said, "I went and got my gun, I loaded my gun," and he said, "I stood there at the door waiting to shoot whoever walked out that door." And he said he stood there for hours and nobody came. And said he constantly hears things over here at night and it really bothers him. He said for the first couple of months he thought he was just kind of getting used to the noises of the building. Because when everything shuts down, everyone leaves. Whoever lives over there is the only person in the whole building all night. And he said, and he lived there by himself. No animals, no nothing, just him. And he said that he was constantly hearing things. And then it was probably 3 days later, I got here one morning early, and here he comes back over here, and he's like, "Were you here at 6 o'clock this morning?" "No, I wasn't here at 6. It's like the whole building shook. It shook, it rattled like someone was blowing something up with dynamite. You know, I have no idea. And so I don't know whether this dude was literally going nuts or whether something was making him crazy. But within 2 weeks later, he was gone and actually ended up paying the landlord for the full lease. And just didn't stay here.
Wow.
Sounds to me like whoever it is doesn't want anybody